Hump Day Wednesday right here on the Sports Grid Network. It is time for the early lunch. Your boy Donnie right side along with Joe Ranieri. Next 2 hours, you know it, all the hottest topics. What happened last night? What's happening tonight? Big dealings as we start to head into the summer months. Did you watch last night? Oh yeah, people. It's 2-2. Best of 3. Stanley Cup Finals as we head back to Carolina after a 5-3 victory by the Hurricanes over the Golden Knights tonight. Madison Square Garden, the place to be once again, looking to possibly get this series tied 2-2 before heading back to San Antonio. The World Cup, we're now just hours away. Lionel Messi was in the middle of Alabama, attracting 88,000 plus fans. And by the way, he did score in that friendly versus Iceland. Joe, the topics are here. The players are here. It's time to get down to the business.
Excited here, Donnie. One step closer, I believe, also for us getting a Game 7 in the NHL. So a lot to be excited about over the next week or so here in June.
Get the horns ready, people. We're ready to rock and roll. Now, it is a Wednesday. You are halfway to your weekend, which will have exciting NBA, as we said. Exciting action on the ice. Excitement on the diamond, and also, more importantly, World Cup excitement. But before we get there, get that cup out. Fill it up to the brim. Add an extra shot of espresso. Why? Joe Ranieri's bringing that hot topic fresh right now.
All right, Donnie. Well, let's talk about the protection program that the NBA League office is running for its precious 7'4" alien named Victor Wembanyama. In fact, I'm fairly certain the aliens at Roswell didn't get protected as much as he is by the NBA because, well, last night, the NBA admitted what every single person with working eyes already knew and who watched Game 3, that they missed an egregious, blatant foul committed by Victor Wembanyama on Jalen Brunson in the first quarter of Game 3. Now, Wemby, if you didn't see it, used his 4-foot arms there to literally shove the much smaller Brunson in the back of the head and look to slam him to the floor. There was no whistle on the hardwood, and shout out, by the way, to Jalen Brunson for not losing his mind at that moment, because I am sure he would have gotten whistled if it came down to it. But yesterday, Senior Vice President Monty McCutcheon goes on TV with an absolute pointless apology, admitting that, well, the referees blew it. You don't say, Monty. But cheap apologies do not give the Knicks any more free throws, do they? No, they don't. And here is where the real favoritism kicks in, because the NBA holds the absolute authority to retroactively assess that shove as a flagrant foul. And if they did, it would have added another flagrant point to Wemby's postseason total. Now, remember, he already has 2 points from smashing Naz Reid with a flying elbow to the neck earlier in the playoffs. And in the NBA, you accumulate 4 flagrant points, and then you get Draymond Green, meaning you are automatically suspended for the next finals game. But the league promptly announced that they will not be upgrading the foul because, well, it was just a common foul that they missed. Of course they did. Now, we already know that Adam Silver and the suits will stop at nothing to protect the next face of the league. So we know the refs are not going to protect Jalen Brunson, which leads to the big question heading into Game 4 tonight. Which of the New York Knicks is going to have enough to really stand up and be the enforcer? Because last I checked, Charles Oakley ain't walking through that door. Now, I thought it might have been Josh Hart because, well, he's just a few fries short of a Happy Meal. I thought it might be Mitchell Robinson, but I'm still trying to figure out how he broke his pinky. But instead, it appears to be Jose Alvarado, the one guy on the roster, the one guy who's actually smaller than Brunson, comes out and says that, yeah, Wemby got away with one, but it'll be the last one. Now, that's the kind of thing I'm looking for from the New York Knicks. He doesn't give a damn how big Wemby is. He does not care if the NBA is protecting him. He is fearless, and he is ready to go toe-to-toe for his teammate. It's about time. So tonight, Game 4 at Madison Square Garden is must-watch television, because we're going to find out if the refs finally swallowed a whistle and let the most physical, determined team win, or if the league office Keeps tilting the board here, Donnie. I guess maybe the safest place to be in New York is watching it on a television here tonight.
It certainly is. If you are a Spurs fan roaming around New York City with a Spurs jersey, we've seen the Rats. Maybe those are the enforcers that the New York Knicks need, or actually their fans. But let's understand one thing, Joe, which you hit the nail right squarely on the head. The NBA is about the NBA. Should it be fair if he got a flagrant, was ejected from the game, or possibly get a suspension? That might happen in the regular season, but they know the dollars are on the line and the viewing is there. If you remember, Joe, in the middle of the COVID era, Thanasis Antetokounmpo, which is the brother of Giannis Antetokounmpo, best friends, tied at the hip. They do everything together. Do you remember that NBA Finals when Thanasis came down with COVID and then the NBA told you, well, these guys don't hang out, and they were not even near each other over the past 48 hours, so he can play, meaning Giannis, for that championship game, which they won, and they clinched over the Phoenix Suns, only to find out just a few days later Thanasis was at the parade, but he had to stay in a separate car away from everybody else. It's all about the ratings. As long as they're up, they will continue to provide. Wemby could do whatever he wants in the Garden versus any Knicks player or fan. He will play in the next game, and they'll give him a small fine, maybe behind the scenes, and say, next year we'll handle our business. Great topic, Joe, to start our day out today on a Hump Day Wednesday. Now we get into the early lineup, which sees the Carolina Hurricanes. We're back in it, Joe. It's a best of three for Lord Stanley's Cup. 5-3 victory on the road against the Golden Knights. How about that comeback for the Canes in this series?
Yeah, I mean, Stahl on his knees, Donnie. What a heck of a goal that was in the third to get it done. And I was so waiting for a tying goal there in the final 60 seconds for it to go to overtime. But nope, Carolina held on. Backup goalie, former starter, then backup. Now I guess starter again. Gets it done, ties the series up. Back to Carolina they go.
How about Brandon Sorsby here? And here's the key ingredient that we've been following along with, Joe. He bet on his own team, bet for him, bet against them. Apparently, a judge likes him. He's going to be able to play. Look at this tweet, Joe. A Texas court scheduled Texas Tech quarterback Brandon Sorsby's trial against the NCAA. Look at the date, Joe. February 8, 2027, 2 weeks after the college football national championship game is scheduled to be played. The jokes, the storylines, they all just write themselves.
And again, Donnie, he's just playing the game better than the NCAA, and he's beating them at their own game. They got nobody to blame but themselves.
Just stall it out and away you go. Joe Burrow, how about this? Joe restructures his contract. Now, the Bengals are cheap, so usually when you hear a team restructures a contract, they want to go out and sign somebody. The Bengals probably restructured that contract to put the money in their own pocket. How about that?
Yeah, listen, this is not the first time we've seen this, Donnie, is it? We've seen quarterbacks. There was one in New England, I think, did this a lot there, where he's like, yeah, I'll take less. Just surround me with people we can actually win a Super Bowl with. And, well, they did. We'll see if Cincinnati follows suit.
Jamison Tyone, Cubs starter here, going to be out after the All-Star break here, Joe. Get him back into the fold here, Cubbies. You need him, but it looks like it's not the worst case scenario we've ever heard of.
No, it's not. But again, he wasn't exactly an ace to begin with there, Donnie.
Women's national team. What happened in this one, Joe? 1-0 victory over Brazil. 8 red cards. Was anybody even available to play? Were we throwing punches? What caused these cards?
In the second, no, they were running out of players, Donnie, and it got to be a free-for-all. Now, hey, listen, bring more of that, and I'll watch more women's soccer.
Layoffs coming to ESPN. This just in. Pat McAfee's like, yeah, well, I'll take the $60 million. Boy, there's the haves and the have-nots if you get ratings, Joe. There it is.
Yeah. And there you go. It's basically 3 people now are going to, it's like, why don't you just hire Ryan Seacrest? Go ahead. Let him do all the shows as well.
ESPN should invest in Live Golf here. Help them fund the rest of their tour, man. Come on now. Don't be stingy. We'll be right back after the break. Big doings tonight. The early line, we always got you covered on what's going down. And sometimes, Joe, we just ask, please extend the series. We love watching. The atmosphere is fun, whether it's dangerous outside or dangerous in the building. We just want to see great theater, and we're getting that so far. We just talked about the NHL Finals. It's a best of three for one of the toughest championships you can win in all of sport. And we're going to watch, and the ratings have been there. Tonight, Madison Square Garden, we could see a 2-2 series once again here if the Spurs win going back to San Antonio, and we'll see what happens. But we love to watch it. It's taking place tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. The San Antonio Spurs, fresh off that victory, 115-111 over the Knicks in game number 3. They'll try to do it again tonight. Underdogs, yes, they are. Depending on where you're shopping, you see the graphic, -1.5 to -2.5. The total listed at 216.5. The Garden will be rocking, but as I like to say, Joe, the championship trophy will not be in the building as it would have been if the Knicks had won game number 3. Give me a spread line tonight in the world's most famous arena.
Well, Donnie, I mean, pretty much exactly what we got for game number 3, right? So you're going to hover around that 1.5, 2 up until tip-off. Maybe 215.5, 216. I will tell you, Donnie, that history tells us that game 4's fatigue starts to set in a little bit, and defenses tend to get it done. I believe the average score in game 4 over the last 11 NBA Finals has been right around the 205 mark. So we have not been getting a whole lot of scoring, shall we say, like we did last one. But will they blow the whistle or won't they blow the whistle? I mean, a lot of the reason why the game went over in game 3, Donnie, was foul shots. If they don't fall and the defenses are allowed to do what they're doing, I would concentrate on the total. It's a coin flip on who wins it. I think we all realize that, Donnie. But the total is interesting. Do we really think we're going to get in the 220s again with these two teams and the way they play defense? I think that is the interesting number tonight.
Yeah, and also be interesting, Joe, to see how, like, the referees handle it. It was really physical in game number 3. And you know what refs can do to start that game off. They get the notes from the league. You call 3 ticky-tack fouls right off the jump, it's not going to be physical. You don't call those ticky-tack fouls, it turns into a rumble in the jungle. We'll see what happens. But we will all be watching that game tonight, no doubt about it. The WNBA, game at 7 o'clock, game at 10 o'clock today. They have 2 games on the docket. We'll talk about game number 1 first, the Connecticut Sun and the Toronto Tempo. In Toronto we go. 7.5-point favorite for the upstart first-year Tempo here, and the total listed at 169.5. Why? Well, you look at the standings, Joe. The Connecticut Sun, 2-11 on the season. But if the season did end today, the Tempo first-year product would be in the playoffs, Joe. What's the spread line tonight?
Yeah, well, listen, Tempo, kudos, right? Nobody knew much about him, Donnie. Nobody expected a whole lot of big things, and yet here they are sitting a game over 500. And meanwhile, the Connecticut Sun are just as bad as we thought they would be. But good news for the Toronto Tempo is that they are going to get Isabel Harrison back here tonight. So that's good news. They should be able to handle business. But again, you're never going to lay a short number when you're playing the Connecticut Sun. I don't care who you are. So I would only lay it if I was playing it.
How about the second game tonight of that doubleheader in the WNBA? 10 p.m. start. That's going to be the Sparks and the Storm. This one, Joe, overnight was about a 5.5-point number towards the Sparks here. Now we see the road team increase to 6.5 at most outlets. In a total, Joe, you see that graphic, 168.5. We're up across the board, 169.5 starting now to poke through. Sparks on the road to take on the Storm. What's an opinion tonight on this one for a spread line, Joe?
Well, we know the Sparks can score, Donnie, right? They average almost close to 90 points a game. But recently, they've kicked it up another notch defensively, and I think they're going to want to get that done again in this spot here on the road against the Seattle Storm, who, you know, tend to grind games out a little bit here. I think if the Sparks play defense, I think this is going to be a nice back-and-forth game, but there's no way I'm looking at the over. The Sparks are determined to shut teams down now. I think they'll shut Seattle down. I'm back in the under in this one tonight.
Let's go over to a little Major League Baseball here tonight, and we take a look, Joe, lining it up. The Dodgers taking on the Pirates here, and this game is scheduled to start at 6:40 p.m. Eastern. Why is it a big deal, Joe? You know who's on the mound tonight. Shohei Ohtani going up against Mr. Jones and me. Look at that favorite, minus 196. There's 206s now infiltrating into the market. In a total, Joe, that's listed at 8. Shohei is on the mound. That means you don't expect the other team, Joe, to do a lot of damage here. What's the spread line for this game for you?
Well, we told you yesterday, right, where it was a coin flip with Paul Skeens on the mound. And I said, I want nothing to do with that Pittsburgh bullpen that's blown already 14 saves. Well, Skeens had the lead going into the 6th inning. Then the Pirates bullpen came in, and that was the end of that. And that's the problem you've got here. Listen, Ohtani on the road, total of 8. Jones has been good, too, the rookie for Pittsburgh. But let's face it, this has got run line with the Dodgers at a big price written all over it.
And by the way, we told you yesterday, too, on the Kalshi Marketplace, you can get it on those Ks. We're probably figuring in about 7. Paul Skeens finished with exactly 7 strikeouts. My goodness, man. Bullpen explosions, and away you go. Now, yesterday, Joe, I had a team total, nice little contrarian play on the Minnesota Twins. Just needed 4 runs. That's exactly what they got, but got it early in the game. Joe, you had the Phillies out there. Wheeler gave him a gem, handing it over to a bullpen that never blows games with Johan Duran as one of the best closers in the game. Final score, Phillies lost 3-2. That was a bad one there. Should have had that victory. But today, the Phillies and Toronto will go at it again. Luzardo, the lefty, versus Max Scherzer. Phillies, a favorite in this game, minus 154 in a total, Joe, of 8.5. You got a tough luck loser yesterday, but who takes care of business today between Philadelphia and Toronto?
Yeah, well, I mean, Scherzer is back, right? So that's got to be good news. Who are we kidding? He's going to get lit up. Luzardo has been fantastic. He had a couple of rough outings early on in the season. Kind of skewed his numbers a little bit, Donnie. You know this, but he has been exactly what we thought he would be here. And in a bounce-back spot, I'm taking the bullpen out of it tonight, though, Donnie. It's Phillies in the first 5 for me. I think they get to Scherzer easily in this one.
Yeah, Cease and Wheeler were dealing yesterday. Toronto ends up with the victory there. And again, Duran, who's been nothing short of spectacular closing games out. I guess you can't close every single one of them, but they'll go back at it tonight at 7:07 p.m. Eastern. More hot topics on the way. It's the early line. It's Joe Ranieri. It's DRS. It's the SportsGrid Network. We'll be back. Getting a call to go up to the show. Big deal in a prospect's life here. Welcome to Major League Baseball. Can you do it at the highest level? And we had a tweet yesterday from MLB. How about this? Braden Montgomery, the White Sox #2 prospect, will reportedly be called up to the majors per multiple sources, including MLB.com's Scott Merkin. So you say, oh, family gets called up. You know what I mean? A couple people come into the stands for this. Oh, this is going to be really impressive. And we've seen a lot of stuff, Joe. It's like, the prospect gets called up, and wow, how about that, man? Home run in his first at bat, base hit in his first at bat. And the worst case scenario is, boy, this guy's got a lot on his shoulders, and his first 2 games, he's 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts and a walk, and doesn't look too good. You want the best for those prospects. And then sometimes, Joe, those prospects absolutely do something that nobody would thought would be possible. How about Braden Montgomery, according to the Yahoo Sports tweet? And if you're watching last night, Major League debut, first hit, first RBI, first home run, first walk-off, bang! And it was against the Atlanta Braves in extras. That's a way to signal, I'm here in the show. I want to stay in the show.
If nothing else, Donnie, you've got that for the rest of your life. No matter what happens from this point on, that is something you will never, ever, ever forget. That happens to so few people, Donnie. It's kudos to him. Kudos to the whole having the experience. And to do it against the Braves, I mean, he didn't do it against the Royals. He did it against the best team in Major League Baseball. Fantastic stuff.
Like, once you get to the show and you do that, yes, we already know you're a good prospect and you're around a Major League clubhouse, but what do, Joe? Go back to the hotel room or your apartment after the game, just flip on social media and watch that home run on loop for hours and hours and hours. Certainly a great moment here. And again, anytime, hey, home run for a young guy in his first game. Yeah, but we lost 7-2. It didn't really matter. Big spot, big moment, and he absolutely delivered. Let's hear from Joe in the post-game presser.
Yeah, that's how he drew it up. That was... I still don't know what to say. That was unreal.
There were some balls. Matt Olson hit a couple that kind of fell short at the wall.
Yeah.
And did you think you got it when you made contact there?
I had no clue. I hit it, and I thought that it would at least get over his head, and so I was excited that at least we didn't lose. That left me speechless.
Now, Joe, I guess he's got to go out to dinner and pay for everybody's meal, probably a $30,000 tab. Welcome to the majors, though. There you go.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this, Donnie. He may not have went back to the room to watch it on loop, but I bet you his parents and his family did. As a matter of fact, I bet you they're still up watching the rerun of that game right now. Hell of a game. I mean, great way. Just make it about baseball. Tune everything else out, right?
Freddie Freeman, one of the best hitters we've seen over the past decade here. And why? ESPN Insights here with a tweet. Freddie Freeman reached 2,500 career hits with a pair of knocks against the Dodgers in a 12-3 victory. Against the Pirates in a 12-3 victory. By the way, Joe, he is the active leader in hits right now. How about that for Freddie?
Yeah, he's been red hot over the last month, Donnie. It was rough go in April, right, early May, but over the last month, he's kicked it into another gear, and my goodness, that's exactly what the Dodgers needed. And once that, even as top heavy as that lineup is, the game could be over, Donnie. With once you go 1 through 5, 1 through 6, the game could very well be over, and he's a big part of why that's happening.
By the way, can the Royals finally turn their season around? You look at the standings; it still has them in dead last place here. At least they're tied now with the. Who would have thought that? By the way, hey, Donnie and Joe, Central Division, mid-June, last place teams, both of them tied. It's Detroit and Kansas City. No shot, but that's the way they sit. But Joe, 3 straight wins by the Kansas City Royals. Lineup getting back intact here. Could we see something that springs them forward? Because even though they're 8 games behind the Guardians, way too much talent to be in last place with the Tigers.
Yeah, well, I mean, Caglione finally starting to hit. They had so many guys, Pasquantino. There's so many guys that were not hitting, and it can't just be wit or bust, right? So now they're starting to come around here a little bit, especially at that new Kauffman Stadium there with the dimensions and everything being moved in. Yes, Kansas City should win their fair share of games here moving forward.
Joe, let me bring out my doctorate for you for TV and hamstring injuries because, and again, we got 30 seconds. I don't know if I can fit this in. Ronald Acuna will not be placed on the injured list at this time. He's day-to-day because of a hamstring tightness here. Quote after the game for Acuna, I don't feel any pain. It just feels a bit tight. That means you hurt the hamstring and it's strained and or torn. You will be on the IL, Joe. How about that? Give me my honorary degree from Duke, Michigan, University of Penn, whoever. Ronald Acuna will be heading to the IL. You heard it here first. Be right back. Everybody, Joe, likes to defend their home turf, and you have a right to do so as a fan base here. You don't want other fans invading your territory, walking over you, cheering for their basketball team, football team, hockey team, baseball team, and walking out and letting you know about it. Now, granted, nobody is over advocating for violence unless the other side does start the violence, and what are you going to do? You got to counter that violence. However, Joe, nothing like we've seen where the Knicks fans and the energy around Madison Square Garden, the New York City coming together, was a pretty good story. And then overnight, it feels like the narrative shifted where everybody outside of New York City is rooting for the downfall of the New York fan base here. And now we hear from Wemby on Spurs fans getting attacked. Let's see what he had to say.
But given your involvement with the fan base in San Antonio, the Jackals, all that, what are your thoughts about some of these fans getting attacked outside of MSG and Spurs?
Fans get attacked?
Yes.
I didn't know that. But my thoughts, of course, is that, I mean, we can't forget it's a game. We're just playing a game out there. And I am all for, passion, but to the respect of each other, it's unacceptable.
Remember the War of the Worlds video, Joe, or the movie that came out with Tom Cruise? Like, as you said, behind the scenes here. Wemby should call out the boys, which means the aliens coming down from the mothership to handle their
That's
business
right.
and show New York City what it's about to become if they keep it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still waiting for like little green man to come like out of his shoulder and somewhere and be like, "That's unacceptable," and then just start raising hell here. Listen, it's just not a good scene, and we're talking about Game 3. We're not even talking like a Game 7. We're not that any of that is excusable. But I mean, come on, man. It's the series is far from over. A lot can still go on. It just unfortunate situation all around. And you know what happens, Donnie, right? Because a few situations, all of a sudden now they're going to ruin it for everybody. I am sure security and Knick fans going to have a very hard time in and around Madison Square Garden here tonight.
Yeah, we're going to get to Josh Hart in just a second. Let's keep here with Wemby. Like, there was a minute, Joe, I actually thought he was contemplating saying, like, if you keep it up, fans out there beating up Spurs fans, I'm going to continue beating up on Jalen Brunson. And talking about beating up on Jalen Brunson, the NBA head of officiating, Monty McCutcheon, no relation, I don't think, to Andrew McCutcheon, stated during the ESPN appearance that a foul should have been called on Wembanyama after he pushed Jalen Brunson. And he's right. You can't catch everything, but that should have been handled. Middle of the court, guy goes down. Something clearly happened at this point, but they missed it. But I really like Wembanyama. I think he was contemplating, like, okay, well, after the game tonight, win or lose, I'll be outside the garden. You want to scrap? We can go. Wemby, man, he's going up notches in my book, Joe. He is.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, the problem is all the ridiculousness with the Knicks fans outside of the building. We were enjoying a villain situation here, right? Where, Wembanyama, very difficult team, though, like very tough guy to wrap your hand around if you're a Knicks. But now it's like you're making this guy out to be like the superhero now. And it's like, what a difference a game makes. The roller coaster and the narratives around this series are over the top here, Donnie. It's crazy.
Let's hear from Josh Hart on being up 2-1 in the series here.
What was the message after yesterday's game in the locker room?
0-0. No matter if we won or lost yesterday, today we would have came in, did film, got better, learned from what we could do, do this damn circus of a media, and then get shots up and then go to sleep. So for us, nothing changes. I think we're all frustrated with how we played. Specifically me as a leader in terms of energy, physicality, those kind of things. I didn't do that to the best of my ability, and you learn from it. So whether we won yesterday or lost yesterday, it would have been the same mentality.
Got to remember, too, like the Knicks are still up 2-1 with a game in their building, slight favorites tonight, favorites to win the series. The ball technically is still in their court here, but let's also hear from Jalen Brunson on the loss in game number 3.
When you got home last night, did it feel like that's a loss and that sucked, or did it feel like it's a first loss in 46 days and that felt, it sort of was bad in a different way? And what did you feel when you sort of at the end of the night when you had a minute to take it all in?
Yeah, I think most importantly, saying this last night, win or lose, we're going to be here today to understand what we need to do to be better. And that's to be our mindset regardless. So win, we learn. Lose, we learn. And we understand what we have to do to be better, giving our team, giving our chance to have the ball and not turn it over, stop fouling. And like I said, just attention to detail and continue to be who we are.
By the way, and we understand why it's done, Joe, right? Media has to be done after these games, before these games. You're trying to pump up the game, go as viral as possible, keep the names out there, and I understand it. But you see Jalen Brunson in that press conference right there, hoodie up over his head, no facial expression, answering questions like this, Joe. Hey, man, how'd it feel after losing that game? Come on, man, stop.
Yeah, in addition to having to answer for the stupidity of some of the fans outside the building after – listen, the Knicks quietly rattled off 13 straight wins, Donnie, and in a lot of spots they weren't expected to do anything, right? So you don't lose in over close to 45 days, right? Over 45 days. Then all of a sudden you get smacked, and it's, it is a little deflating, and now you're expected to win, which is a different animal altogether than what the Knicks have been doing so far in the postseason.
And also, Joe, it's not like the streak was going up against, Memphis when they're sitting everybody out every single night. You're playing the best teams in the NBA and handling their business. Sooner than later, you're going to lose, and they did lose in the Garden. And answer a question like, hey, what did you learn from that? It was a loss. What do you mean what I learned? We're going to try to win the next game, and so we go. If we keep moving at this point too, Joe, because Game 4 is tonight, as we said, slight favorite towards the New York Knicks. I'm interested to see the energy, because the one thing we've noted in this series multiple times, Spurs usually tend to get out the lead, then the Knicks close the door and seem to get that lead ahead, but the Spurs counter-punched in the second half and came away with that victory. That crowd is going to be on fire. Now, not like, Joe, we would have seen if it was a 3-0 series lead where you can smell the championship in the building. I'm very interested to see the first quarter of this game, because the Spurs are going to take a deep breath like, whoo, we got a game. Like, no, you go back in your own building 3-1, the series is over anyway. They got to win this game. But, Joe, I'm focused on that first quarter tonight. I am.
Donnie, listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah. Spurs first quarter, Knicks second quarter. But the problem is, in this series, this could easily be 2-2, Donnie. And the Knicks have been playing with fire in this series. In the second half, outside of the second quarter, San Antonio has dominated in a lot of statistical categories in every other quarter. So the Knicks better play more than just the second quarter if they're going to win this game.
Logos, Joe. I want to get this in here. The Chicago Bulls are the only team in NBA history to never change their primary logo since their franchise was founded in 1966. 60 years, the iconic Bull remains untouched here. And look at some of those logos that are down there. Fantastic. Look at Detroit. What is the Detroit guy? Just like a huge robot dribbling the basketball?
It's kind of crazy, right? This is where that whole Mandela effect comes in, and you're like, wait a minute, didn't that used to have wasn't it? Yeah, you're like, yeah, there is some of them in there, Donnie. I was like, can we go back to that logo?
Look at the classic Milwaukee Bucks logo. Love to see it. As I see here, what do we out there? The Minneapolis Lakers out there. Look at the Denver Nuggets guy. He's got like the little sickle hammer in his hand, trying to go out and find some gold nuggets out here. Great stuff across the board. But shout out to the Bulls. Never change. Keep it real. The only problem is change that team. Been a long time since they won, man. Come on, Bulls. Maybe it is the logo. Maybe it's not. We'll be right back. Quick break. More early line next. Owning a professional sports team, Joe, is very lucrative. We've seen it across the board. Even teams like in the NHL are skyrocketing with their funds here, and we'll get to everybody watching and why we think they're watching. But in the meantime, Joe, it used to be, hey, we're going to share an arena with an NBA team. And that turned out to be, that's not good enough. We want our own arena. That turned out, Joe, to not be good enough either. Now what teams are doing, Joe, we're going to build our own arena, but we're going to be developers because I want to build an arena. I want to have 600 housing units there. I want to have places for 50 shops. I want to have places for 50 corporations to come in because I want to own my arena and the land around it, and I want to profit on everything here. Why are we talking about this? Front Office Sports with a tweet. The Dallas Stars have unveiled a first look at a proposed $1 billion arena and entertainment district in Plano, Texas. The project would move the franchise from downtown Dallas into Collin County. They're not doing this because it's like, oh, I found a nice piece of land. Joe, this is the new thing. Move out of downtowns, where, as you know, Joe, what's cheaper? Somewhere in the middle of Manhattan, or you move them up to northern upstate New York? Of course, it's cheaper to do that. They're moving out, Joe. They're acquiring land, and they're building around their arena. That's the new gold rush, apparently, in professional sports.
Yeah, and listen, there's still no casinos in Texas, so that's unfortunate for the owners there of Dallas because they basically bought the team in hopes of being able to they're in the casino game, Donnie, as you know, but since that's not going to happen anytime soon, they're like, you know what, there's no point in us being in downtown. Let's get out. Let's go to, and really, Plano is the burbs, Donnie. That's what it is from Dallas. So you go from where all the action is to let's go to the suburbs right now. It's like Santa Clara, that kind of thing. Like, what are we doing here?
Yep, moving it out, buying space, getting land, owning your arena, getting all the funds there, and then also from the rent around the district as well. That's where we're heading here. You know where the Toronto Maple Leafs are heading after winning the NHL lottery? Apparently, they told Gavin McKenna, come on down. You'll be number one.
Yeah, and it will be number one, I believe, Donnie. And we'll see where it goes from there. But there's got to be a predictive market on this somewhere, too, no?
There has to be. And, Joe, they told us, by the way, because we're going to get into the ratings race right now in the NHL. Good luck with Carolina and Vegas. Nobody's watching that. But it actually turns out, Joe, it's not the teams that are in there that we want to watch. It's like, you know what? I don't really care about those teams, but damn it, when I turn this game on, it is fun. It is back and forth, and I want to tune into the next game, and that's what's happening. But again, Joe, I don't want to bring out the ice bucket challenge and dump it on everybody's head. In 2025, 2026, we did not have a rebirth, Joe, that all of a sudden people like, sports, never thought about watching them. Honey, get the kids, get the family in here. Let's watch hockey. Ratings are boosted here, and every single organization under the sun is boasting about it here. Understand this. We might be watching a little bit more, but we didn't just find out what a television is and how to change the channel. Congratulations to the Stanley Cup Finals. Congratulations to Carolina Vegas, putting on a great show and now a best of three, and we will all tune in. But every tweet, every sport, every time frame, doesn't matter who plays, sets a world record here, Joe.
Yeah, it does. But it also helps that you don't have to have 9,000 subscriptions to actually watch these games here. So yeah, you make it, and Donnie, you make the product pretty good and entertaining. And guess what? Yeah, they'll watch. You know, go figure. It doesn't make a difference what size market the teams are from. As long as it's competitive and it's not blowouts, people will tune into it, especially this time of year.
It's unbelievable. And also, you're right about this. You need storylines. You need build-up. You need a long series to build that storyline. You're getting it in hockey. It's been fantastic. I'm a Flyers fan. Most people in the NHL are their own team's fans, not NHL fans. If you are not enjoying this series, something is wrong with you here. But also at the same time, understand this. NBA, like when we talk about the ratings there, we are getting unbelievable basketball in the finals, and it's so much fun to watch. But it doesn't translate because most people are like, well, why don't we get this in January, February, or March? Like, it just feels like the NBA doesn't care. If we can get them to care a little bit more, those ratings go higher. But we love the playoffs, and we love adversity, and we're getting that certainly, Joe, in both of these leagues. But last night, Carolina Hurricanes jump out. Golden Knights tie it up. 2 unanswered in the third period. Give the Hurricanes the win. We are getting everything every single night. And Joe, Shout out to people that are continuing to bet the unders here in the Stanley Cup Finals because it's sharp.
We're laughing yesterday. I cannot imagine sweating out an under in this series.
Yeah.
And I mean, what are you doing? You keep waiting for nothing. These teams have shown us in this series leads us to believe that we've got hot goaltenders, Donnie, or, just defenses that can't be cracked. No. If you're going to want to win these games, you're going to have to score 5 or more goals, Donnie, and that is going to continue here throughout.
Yeah, 4 goals in the first period again. And right off the jump, Joe, I turned it on. I'm like, okay, there's 20 seconds in the game. Good. Bang, goal. I mean, right off the bat, you're getting action in these games, which is what people want. Sure, in baseball, we talk about, hey, man, that was a hard-fought playoff 1-0 win. But the people will tell you, we don't need to see 9-8 in baseball, but give us some excitement, give us some adversity here, and you got everything. These are this series, Joe, could have multiple blowout games that somehow found themselves tied and heading into overtime just about every single time. And you pointed out even yesterday, this game had a legitimate chance to go into overtime again. But me as a fan, no rooting interest on either side. Now, all of a sudden, Joe, we get a game 5. We're going to get an automatic game number 6. And if we get a game number 7, that is exactly what we want here. And here's the sporting news. First time in Stanley Cup final history that each team has scored 3 or more goals in each of the first 4 games. Compelling hockey back and forth. It doesn't need to be New York versus L.A., Joe.
No, it doesn't. And, listen, nobody wants a 1-0 game or 2-0 game or 5. We want competition, and when the product is good and it's accessible, Donnie, people will watch it.
And by the way, Joe, as I sit and look across the board, there's differentiating lines coming up here on the total for game number 5. You got 5.5s out there, and some books are like, no, we're going to 6.5 on this one. Joe, are they learning their lesson, or is it just so sharp to stay under 5.5 again?
What? Donnie, if it ain't broke, folks, do not fix it. Do not expect them to all of a sudden be a defensive match. Not going to happen.
What Joe is telling you, do not get on the under in the first period, people, no matter how much analytical sense it makes. We'll be back. Shot heard around the world. Just get the lawyers. They will be paid. They will book their hours. They will make insane decisions. And also, it's one of the true forms of life is if you don't get the right answer, just keep moving around courtrooms and find a judge that's going to say, okay, you can have it done and you can get your way. But if you aren't keeping up with the scoreboard right now, and sometimes it's tough, let's go down that path, Joe. The Big 12, they spoke on it here because, by the way, if you are the commissioner of the Big 12, you're trying to, hey, everybody, calm down. Calm down. Let's see what we got. Quote, we had a thoughtful and productive conversation with our athletic directors today as we continue to work through the broader implications of this situation. Many of our athletic directors voiced their opinions here. So I won't read the rest, but basically what he's saying is, hey, guys, we got to get back under this tent because if we want to make some money, even though one school is doing wrong, we need to look the other way to keep the gravy train rolling, Joe. That's what I got out of that tweet and quote.
And again, I mean, the Big 12 is saying everyone breathe, have some patience here. It'll all play itself out. Meaning, Donnie, there'll be a million things that happen between now and week 0. Yeah. We'll have forgotten about this. He'll play, and it'll all be under it. Again, this is not Texas Tech or the athletic director or anybody doing anything that breaks rules here, Donnie. That's the whole thing. So holding Texas Tech accountable for something they had nothing to do with and didn't break a rule doing, it's just the whole thing is ridiculous.
And as we certainly now move over to Texas Tech, and you know what? I got to take a second to talk about this one here, Joe, because there are some things you can and some things you cannot do in sports. And like you talk about the golden rule, like, oh, I accepted a free cab ride. It stinks, man, right? Or, hey, man, Booster came by. I had a good football game on Saturday. Saw him late at the club late night. He sent over a beer. Oh, man, you can't do that. But the one thing that you absolutely can't do is place wagers on a game that you're even involved in, if inside information, your team for or against. You cannot do it. So how about this tweet that comes out here from the Texas Tech Raiders, their official account? And it starts showing, I don't even have to read after the first paragraph. As we have said before, this is from Texas Tech, we do not believe the circumstances of Brandon's case warranted permanent ineligibility. So, Joe, I asked this question. Like, what in their eyes would it be? Murder? Oh, maybe he can't play for our football team. But you are doing the one thing that everybody recognizes around the world. You cannot cross this line. Betting on your own football team while you are a player. And they're like, yeah, but that's not really, he shouldn't get banned from that. I understand they have to stick up for their kid. And who knows if the booster sent this tweet and said, put this out for us. But this is just ridiculous. Like, no, they should just hey, you know what? We'll let the courts play it out like NFL teams will tell you when their star running back beats the hell allegedly out of somebody, right? This is ridiculous, though. We don't think it warrants ineligibility. So I would ask the question, well, what do you think would warrant ineligibility, Joe?
Well, Donnie, it's not as black and white as everyone wants it to be here. He wasn't the starting quarterback in Indiana placing wagers against his team. So that's a different bucket than what he is on a practice squad as an 18-year-old freshman placing wagers on games for $5. It's not the same situation. And the idea that this is not going on behind the scenes on every team, on every level, no matter how much they want to say that they're, don't do that. It has been happening forever. The idea that college players don't bet either themselves or through a proxy on games is absurd. I don't know what world you're living in to think that doesn't happen. It happens. He did it when he was 18. My question, Donnie, is why did it take so long to figure this out? Why now, all of a sudden, did this come out? What you should have known that you had all this information for how long, Donnie? Why now?
Now, you know what, Joe? This would never come out if Sorsby was a recruit, came out of high school, and where'd he go? Texas Tech. Where did he stay all those years? Texas Tech. Texas Tech was winning. Yep. Everybody was happy. You know where feathers get ruffled, Joe? Oh, so you're going to leave us now. Okay, you sure you want to do that?
Cincinnati, huh?
Got a good deal somewhere else. Okay, we'll see you around. How about that, Joe? Think?
I'm saying, Donnie, it's very odd to me that nobody knew a guy placing 90,000 wagers over it since he's 18 years old. Nobody noticed. Nobody, huh? I don't think so.
Oh, so you're going to leave the bank now. Okay, we'll see. Hey, what happened to all those shares that you got under different names? Hey, you can't do that to me. Hour number 2 on its way next. Hump Day Wednesday, halfway through the show, almost to your weekend here, but we don't want to fast forward, Joe. We got hot topics coming up in hour number 2, a couple of great guests that we can get after, talk the biggest sports and the biggest moments and the information you need to know. In the next segment, you're going to get a little bit of Kevin Walsh here because we got the NBA Finals resuming in Madison Square Garden. Also, a little PME midway through, best bets, and so much more. It's your boy DRS, Joe Ranieri. We're only getting started, Joe. The ampage is high.
It is, Donnie. I mean, we got some great Major League Baseball matchups this week. We got the AARP club. Max Scherzer is back on the mound tonight for Toronto against your Phillies. Yankees seem, even without Aaron Judge, to be winning. So there's a lot going on here around the world of sports.
World Cup coming up tomorrow as well. Got a great guest on the line for hour number 2. So make sure you stick around. And also, let's keep clearing some of these hot topics now. Nobody ever wants to lose their job, Joe, specifically when you're drafted number 1 in your organization in the first round to be that future quarterback. And they get rid of a quarterback who then went on to win a Super Bowl the very next year. And apparently you stink now. And now we're looking at Kyler Murray. Come on now. You know what we're talking about. It's J.J. McCarthy. Bring him up.
With all the quarterback changes that have already happened, that you've thought about a trade or thought about the possibility of if you wanted to be traded?
I think I made it very clear I wanted to be here before I got here. And I love this organization. I love the coaching staff. I absolutely love these players to death. This is where I want to be. I feel like I can thrive in this system. And, it's just, everything played out exactly how I wanted it. I wouldn't want anything else to change.
Joe, he'd fit right in like the 1960s, where all a quarterback had to do was hike, and hand the football off like he did at Michigan and not throw it. But in the NFL, you got to excel at throwing the football, and he can't do that.
No, Donnie, but we've known this. Like, I don't understand why anybody is surprised with this here. I just, now you've thrown him above the shoulders, Donnie. You got to worry about him. I don't get it. You're not sprinkling a little dust here, and all of a sudden he's going to become a Hall of Fame quarterback. That's not what he is.
Like, and again, like, not saying he can't play, even though I'm technically saying that here, but when you watched Michigan and when you recall like some of their biggest wins in their championship run, it was like, man, we dominated Penn State. We didn't even throw the football. And I'm going, if your best player, you think the best quarterback in the country, and your best plan is to not have him throw the football, something could be wrong. And Minnesota, I guess, fell for the trap at that point. Now, Joe, we all know this. I'm close to 50 years old. Loved my days of playing high school football and college football. But even like 2 or 3 years after college, playing like pickup basketball game, parts don't move as well as they used to in the past. And sometimes you can go back and look at nostalgia and say, I think I might want to do that again. But I'll tell you right now, there was no worse feeling in my entire life than after finishing up school, and it's like, it's say 3 o'clock, heading out to the practice field. Or in college, hey, I have my last class at 12:30. Now I got to head over to the facility and start to get dressed on an 85-degree day and put on those pads for practice. Aaron Donald, considering coming out of retirement here, and the plan might be to ease him back in. But, Joe, it sounds great until those pads go on again. You're like, do I really want to be out here?
It would make for tremendous TV. I mean, the rating, it would be the most LA thing. Now maybe you sign LeBron James to a contract, right? Maybe you say get him out there as a tight end. Like, what else can you do to try to get eyeballs on there? I'll be careful, though, Donnie, because there was a dream team put together once by a guy named Andy Reid in the Philadelphia Eagles, if you recall.
Go.
And remember that dream team, how well that worked?
Vince
It
Young,
didn't work out.
Ronnie Brown.
I'd be careful. Yep, I'd be careful.
Nnamdi Asomugha. Come on, put it together. The people will watch. Yep. But again, Aaron Donald coming out of retirement and playing at a high level would be incredible to watch. But as I said, this dude is a champion. More money than you can count. Enjoying just working out on his own, having fun with his family. You put those pads back on, and it's the late fourth quarter. You're like, ooh, I don't know if I wanted to actually get back into here. It just sounded like a good idea. We'll find out. Let's get to the early lineup here. Hot topics across the board. Stanley Cup Finals tied at 2. Going back to Raleigh, North Carolina. Why? A 3-1 lead disappeared to a 3-3 tie before 2 unanswered goals by the Carolina Hurricanes in the third period to pick up that victory on the road. Look at those game scores, Joe. Incredible. Look, if you're Martingale in the under, Joe, you got to go get a bank loan.
Again, repeat after me. We'll have to send people to the chalkboard, right? I will not bet an under in the Vegas and Carolina, Stanley. I will not bet do not bet any unders in this series moving forward here. And by the way, I mean, what happened to your boy Hart? All of a sudden, letting weak goals in, not good, the goaltending in this series.
Yeah, right. The first goal right off, hit the boards behind him. He puts his stick down, misses it, ends up in the back of the net, and away you went with Carolina. A lot of goals being scored, a lot of fun being had, no doubt about it. Brandon Sorsby, lawyers are pretty smart. Hey, you know what? We're going to get this figured out. Does everybody agree? Yeah, we'll figure it out. Well, here's the date we're going to figure it out, when his eligibility runs out. Come on, Joe.
Yeah, again, this is why you pay top dollar for attorneys and representation, Dottie, because all of this was understood here and researched. So, got to know exactly what they're doing, don't they?
Give me my money is what Sorsby's saying. And also Joe Burrow, restructure contract, gives him a little bit more money there. You get to free up some of the cap space, which, you know, the Bengals aren't going to spend here. So just a formality. Or, Joe, is this one of those where we saw with, you know, Myles Garrett? We're going to change his contract around because we eventually want to trade the guy. We don't want to pay him.
Either way, it works for Joe Burrow. If he's willing to give up and restructure the contract so they can actually put, a offensive line to protect him or maybe some defensive players, I'm all for it. Burrow should be in the postseason every year. There is no reason for Joe Burrow not to be in the NFL playoffs.
Come on, Cincinnati. Spend some money on that defense over there. And by the way, take a look at Jamison Tyone, Chicago Cubs pitcher. He's out, Joe. So after the All-Star break, but I guess it could say he's out for the rest of the season. So at least some positivity for the Cubbies.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the guy's a mid-rotation arm at best. It's not like you're losing, a top-end starter here. And what were we going to do? I mean, the guy was a home run pitcher. Like, stop. I mean, listen, great if he comes back. If he doesn't, you got bigger problems, like only scoring 3 runs in Colorado last night.
Come on, Joe. You see the tagline. It says Cubs star is out to the All-Star break. Understand what we're trying to do here at this point. United States women's national team, 8 red cards in a victory. That's got to be some sort of a record, Joe, no?
That's how you do it, Donnie. You win, and then you beat the snot out of your opponent and get red cards everywhere. So, yeah, we need more of that. You want to talk about entertaining and must-watch. If I can guarantee that many red cards and a win, I'm watching that game, Donnie.
New business model for ESPN, Joe. 12 o'clock midnight here till 12 o'clock in the noon. Just Stephen A. Smith. 12 o'clock in the afternoon till 12 o'clock, which would be midnight. Just Pat McAfee. He's expected to sign a contract for close to $60 million a year. Don't you remember? It's like, why would this guy hang it up as a punter when he probably could have punted for another 5 years and miss out on all that money? He ain't missing that money. His money is long right now, Joe.
So they're firing everybody else just so they can give McAfee $60 million. So there's basically going to be 3 shows on ESPN 24 hours a day, I guess. That's it. Okay.
I think he has to call NBA, NHL, and NFL. They're a part of this as well. And wrestling as well, since the WWF/WE is with ESPN as a network and everybody's all hand in hand. Live Golf Tour. They wish they could pay somebody $60 million because they don't know what the heck's even going to happen with the rest of their season. Now, we know what's going to happen with the rest of the show. More fun, more vibes, more info. Kevin Walsh, host of In Game Live, is up next. Center stage in more ways than one. Madison Square Garden tonight, Midtown Manhattan. I know a kid who grew up in Midtown Manhattan, and he's coming up on the show right now. Donnie Rightside, Joe Ranieri. It's Kevin Walsh. Still call him a kid. New York City, that's his home. The boroughs, all the same. No difference between either one of them. Let's get that info going today, Kev. How about it?
Yeah, I don't know. You saying I'm from Midtown Manhattan's the closest you've been to saying where I live on air in about half a decade. So it's nice to see a little bit of a flavor change on the way out from you.
By the way, I did get the what's the tower called in New York City? Like, what is it? Liberty Place? What is that called? Like the big tower that they built down near in Midtown. What's it called? Because I went in the summer, took the wife and the kid all the way up. You can see all of New York City.
One trip to the city for pizza.
One trip to the city for
Empire
pizza.
State Building?
Like you get a look of everything here, and all I did was say, "Hey, guide over here. Where's Queens at?" That's over in this direction. Now, you know what? Let me see if I can look over that direction and find somebody's house. But that's the way we get down. Huge game in the Garden tonight, Kevin. But talk to me about what we're feeling, because you get a day to sort of reminisce about the situation. The Knicks are a slight favorite tonight. You see the graphic, -1.5, total of 216.5. Questions about, they're not policing Wemby. And also, real quick on a story that, Kev, we love from in the past. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Thanasis. We've always had a running punchline joke. Yeah. We love those too. And the NBA, as we talk about with Joe Ranieri, is about ratings. And it's like, we missed that. We're not going to call flagrant. We're not going to suspend the guy. We're not going to go down that path. And I always bring up Thanasis and Giannis are tied at the hip. Thanasis got COVID. Protocols in the NBA means you're not going to be able to play for at least like a week because you got a quarantine. The NBA came out and said literally, these two guys weren't together over the past 48 hours. They don't even see each other. He is playing. So are we getting special dispensation here on Wemby? And also, what are we looking forward to tonight as well?
Just in case anybody doesn't know what Donnie's talking about, Thanasis Antetokounmpo at the Milwaukee Bucks championship parade is one of the funniest NBA images in the history of the like. He's just out of a black SUV, but staying away from everybody. He hasn't seen Giannis since they won the title. It's a week later. To the Wemby thing quickly. It's crazy what they've done to protect him throughout this postseason from things that he did himself. Like, you can try and protect Wemby with a whistle, he's getting beat up. He's elbowing guys in the throat with no fine. He's skipping post-game press conferences with no fine. He's mushing Jalen Brunson in the head with no flagrant. And truly, the only justification is they don't want to have to suspend Wemby in the same Draymond Green vein of you're not suspended for one action, you're suspended for a bunch of actions. Because they think Wemby will end up with another flagrant foul at some point in this series, but that then, within some level of boundaries, should give the Knicks carte blanche tonight to get one back. It's the old, Terry Collins, the Mets manager, where you got to let us get ours when they threw at Chase Utley that next game. Josh Hart or Mitchell Robinson or Brunson himself. Victor Wembanyama and elbow and let the chips fall where they may. I mean, because it's one thing to do it. It's another thing for him to do it and also go completely unpunished.
Yeah, it's been a theme that we've seen there. We saw also a theme of rock fights in game 1 and 2. We finally got an over in game 3, 11 points, in fact, over. But this is all about adjustments, right, Gav? And the adjustments that we're likely going to see from both teams tonight, and possibly, and I don't know that the NBA wants any more conversations about refs, and the easiest way to do that is let them play. Let both of them play and swallow the whistle. Are we getting another over tonight, or do you think we're going to get an under here?
It is funny, Joe, that they are simultaneously in a spot where the refs are a conversation because of bad foul calls, and the refs are allowing wrestling during these games. I don't know how they found that mix, but they have. They are letting them play every game. there are plays, like I guess, defend Wemby, where he is looking like he wants to run to the top of the screen to set a pick, and he's just being hugged and has to like put like it's a little crazy. As far as the total goes, I don't know what the San Antonio offense brings to the table, because while they didn't get a superb outside shooting game from maybe any one individual, the Dylan Harper performance kind of dragged it down and made it look pedestrian. It was a pretty good night. And Wembanyama had another really efficient game. Wemby's had now 26, 29, and 32 in this series. That is not historically who Victor Wembanyama has been, in this young point in his career. It would not stun me if he's under 25 tonight. And look, I know this will probably sound disrespectful to the Spurs. I'd be stunned if the Knicks lost this game. I'd be stunned. I just think this is, as much as I feel like a lot of us, and I don't want to sound like a lot of us in the know knew it was a Spurs spot in Game 3. I don't think a lot of us, who do what we do, were surprised that the Spurs roared back and got themselves a win in this series. Game 4 is a Knicks spot, clear as day. The Knicks haven't lost in 13 straight games, and a lot of people are out there now running around, oh my God, I guess the Knicks are never going to win another basketball game. No, I think the Knicks are probably going to go out there and win by 15 points like they have throughout this winning streak.
I want to ask you one question too, Kevin, because refereeing obviously is going to be a big part of it. In other sports, let's just say in hockey, we know it's going to be bad. We're going to warn both teams. And then when it starts out, you know what's going to happen. You drop the gloves. They give out game misconduct. You can't even come back onto the ice. You can't do that in the NBA. Do we see quick whistles to understand how we're going to officiate this game right off the bat, Kevin? I enjoy what's been going on the first couple games, but do you think there's going to be some tight whistles early to sort of set the tone?
It's what they did following the Naz Reid elbow, Donnie. So it's, but again, like in favor of the Spurs. So it's very, very interesting to see if that's what we get again here tonight.
There's a tempo game on tonight, 7 p.m. Perfect for in-game live. The boys will be ready, including Kevin Walsh and Gabriel Morency. We'll talk to you again tomorrow, Kevin.
Talk has been about sports betting handle being down or flat, right, because of the threat of prediction markets and the growth of them. But we've seen Kalshi actually kind of plateau for the first time in recent memory. Looking at a graphic right now, we've had the spike for the Super Bowl, and then this is usually when things die down. Yes, there's March Madness, but usually sports betting handle kind of goes down over the course of the spring and summer until we get back to football season.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
For Abdul Carter. Hey, son, you want to be a leader? Show up to meetings on time. Don't be late to practice. This guy's sitting there trying to tell me that he's got a problem with Jackson Dart going to a Trump rally when he can't even show up to a meeting on time? And he can't show up to practice and he's late? Dude.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is all about headlines, Donnie. If we hear, if that noise gets louder as we get closer, then 45 cents is going to be 65 cents, and that's the repricing we're talking about. I don't need Utah to get him. I need people to think Utah is going to go up and get him, Donnie, and that's how you make money.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Craig Carton along with Tyrone Johnson. We got great news for you. CraigCartonShow.com. And Tyrone, what do you get if you go to that amazing website?
Well, right now you can subscribe to our upcoming newsletter. You put in your email address, and then bang, you'll get all the new Craig Carton Show content when it arrives.
Not just that, you also get merch drops, exclusive content, and appearances. So again, one more time, that website is CraigCartonShow.com.
The good times continue to roll. It's the early line. It's just how we get down to business. In this segment here, going over some best bets here, checking out Fading the Public, other interesting topics that pop up. Of course, we got it covered. But, Joe, I got to tell you, man, I am really you want to get side-by-side finals, right? We talk about the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals. There's a legitimate chance, Joe, we could go 7 in both. But it is up to the Spurs to do their business tonight. I think if the Spurs lose tonight, it's 3-1. They probably win in San Antonio, and there's no way in hell that the Spurs are going to be escape game number 6 with a championship on the line in New York City. I hope we can get 7s in both, but for living up to the hype and it's a quick 4-game series or it ends early, we're getting a treat here on both sides of the finals right now.
We truly are, Donnie, and we have said it, and we knew it early on in the series. In both of them, that this was something special was happening here. And I always thought minimum of 6, likely 7 in both series. And depending on what happens tonight, I think we're still heading in that direction here for sure.
Yes, we are. How about Serena Williams? You know what? Serena trying to come back, have some fun, get back into it. The Williams sisters. Let's check it out.
I think it's fair to say the Queen of Tennis is back. It is wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful to have you back after 4 years. Serena, how on earth was that match for you out there?
It was so fun. I had so much fun playing with Vicky. She really was able to hold up the team and really play big on the big points, and I could really rely on her. And we've never played together, but it just felt so natural playing with her, so it was actually really fun.
First Serena, next Aaron Donald. What's in the fountain of youth out there, Joe?
I don't know, but she was still serving it up like 120 miles per hour. So even, what is she, 43, 44? I certainly ain't getting on a pickleball court with her, much less a tennis court. But who knows? Tennis could use a few eyeballs these days here, Donnie. So maybe a comeback not out of the question for Serena.
Look, she just saw who won the Women's French Open, right? And it's like, wait a second, I can come back in my mid-40s and handle my business. Maybe it's that, but we'll see what happens. A big name back in the process. We always like to see that, Joe. Now, it's time to reach out to the public. Let's see if we're going to fade him or not. Let's go. What are you on tonight is the question we asked, Joe. Over, under, Spurs, and or Knicks. I voted for the Spurs, and currently 55.6% are on the Spurs tonight, Joe. How about that?
Yeah, well, it's there is definitely some public love here for the New York Knicks tonight. Now, whether that will translate into a win, I mean, listen, the public was on the Spurs last game, and they won. So we'll see what happens tonight here, Donnie. But one thing I know, it's going to be a heavyweight fight for sure, and only one team is going to be left standing. Let's hope we get 6 or 7 games out of this.
Let's pick up some dubs tonight, which means here's our best bets, and bye. Oh, boy, we got baseball tonight. Yes, we do. We got hockey action. Well, that's got to wait till tomorrow. Center stage, Madison Square Garden. Where do we head tonight, Joe, for a best bet for you?
Well, it's interesting, Donnie, because I do think it's going to be it's all about adjustments at this point in the NBA Finals, right? We saw certainly what San Antonio adjusted to. They've been the better defense the entire series long. They seem to be maybe pushing Brunson to the limit here, running 4 guards out at him every game. I don't think we get the whistles. I don't think we get the free throws. I think what we get is another rock fight. I think the first one of 105 wins, Donnie. So recency bias will have the public backing the over. I'll be going the other way. I think under 216.5. That's the kind of game this is going to be. Slow tempo, not as great shooting. Defense takes over on both sides. lower scoring game here tonight on the under.
I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to take the Spurs tonight. I'll take the 2.5 points. You know, most people thought that no way the Knicks were going to lose game number 3, energy in the building. You thought that might be a Spurs spot and be contrarian, and it was. Tonight, looking at the same thing. No way the Knicks lose back-to-back games on their home turf, and maybe they don't. And if they do, or since to say they win the game, how about 100-99? How about 120 to 119? Give me the cover in that spot. I'm on the Spurs tonight, plus 2.5 points. You know what's coming up now? Prediction Markets Edge on the early line. The show continues, topics, guests, and so much more. Don't you change that channel. We'll be right back.